Welcome home. This is the Irish Roots Cafe, where every day's a holiday and there's always room for one more. Come right this way, have a seat with me today in the corner booth, celebrating our 110th week of the Irish Roots Cafe Genealogy and History broadcast. Sweeney, clear that floor. Katie, bar the door. Molly, put on another pot of Irish coffee and bring out the Irish dancers right away. It's time we get this show on the road. We've got another full house today, folks, not a chair to spare. I'm Mike OLaughlin, your host, and you can reach me on my webpage at irishroots.com anytime, and check out the written show notes on my blog, too. That's where you can find a lot of extra little links you can click that go with this podcast and makes it a lot easier to follow, and you can find out a lot more information by following that blog as well. Hey, and that also reminds me you can search all of our books and videos and podcasts for free, and that's on the webpage at irishroots.com. And remember to phone 816-256-3360 to leave your comments on my recorder. Try it, you'll like it. Among today's topics, the Irish family name of the week is Ryan. Famine Irish to Canada book. The book of the month is County Tipperary Genealogy and Family History. Searching O'Hay and Madden. Twitter explosion. New Irish Roots page on Facebook. National Archives Genealogy Fair. The Irish go exactly where for vacation? And Bad Luck Gilpin returns to the sea. Well, notes for the week. This week we've got a few good notes. It's been really a pretty active time here, trying to keep up with all these new things coming out there in the internet universe. I'm catching up on things so fast, sometimes I feel like I've been left behind. Number one, the Irish Roots page. We're getting notes, and we've just started up a Irish Roots page. And here's a note. It says, "Hi, Mike. I've been a fan of your podcast for a while now, researching the surname Dillon from Cavan County. And keep up the good work, Jerry." Well, thanks for that note, Jerry. I hope we can help you out there on our Irish Roots page on Facebook. And here's another note. It was on Twitter, and this one was from Irish Hacker. And it says, "Great episode, great podcast episode. I really enjoy him. Great job." Hey, thanks for that. I appreciate all those comments. It keeps me going. You know, sometimes you wonder, is 110 episodes enough? But I don't think so for now. We're going to keep on going. Number two, you know, I've got to mention again the Irish Family History Foundation, their online genealogy database. A lot of people want to know where they can start free or at least easy. And I tell you, they got 15 million records on there now, and that includes just about 7 million birth records, and they've also got several million marriage records and almost 2 million census records and Griffith's valuation of Ireland. So, boy, I tell you what, you got to check that out. I've got a link on the blog, and it's sure worthwhile if you're starting out from scratch and you don't know where to go. Number three, we're in the third show for the Irish Song and Recitation Festival this week. Last week we had the harpist and vocalist Emily Wyatt give her rendition of Molly Malone in a classical vein. And we've got a brand new show for you this week. I think it's Michael Collier's coming in this week and going to talk to us. We might do 2 shows with him. And you can get that Irish Song and Recitation Festival podcast either right from my webpage or on iTunes, and either one's fine. You can click on that from the blog, too, if you want to. Number 4, you know, I just started up the Irish Roots fan page on Facebook about 3 days ago, and we've picked that as one of our pages for the week. But, you know, it's just been a few days, and we've already seen, somebody posted a picture of Dirty Nellies and Ashford Castle, and we've got some video, and more people are joining up every day. I even got a note from Megan that says that she's supposed to be related to Barry Fitzgerald, so she likes that Quiet Man poster we have as a banner for that page. And it had, of course, Fitzgerald's picture and name on it because he's one of those good old Irish boys from the movies back there in the older days, and he was a character. And hey, I was also just notified on Twitter of the anniversary of Brian Boru, and that was from Be Not Forgot. And well, I'll tell you what, just stop in and join us on that fan page. And I don't know if we started doing this yet, but you can do it now. Go ahead and leave your family search and comments right there on the page by all means. And, you know, I'm even going to start planning some events here. So if you've got any suggestions on the kind of events we should plan, we could have a little festival, or we could have for that CD we got coming up, we could have everybody sing a song, and I could patch them all together. You could do it here. You could do it at home and send me an MP3. I just got to pick that song. We could all do one big finale. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Let me know what you think. Boy, what's now? Now it's time for the books of the month. Well, number one, firstly from the Irish Roots Cafe, since it sort of goes along with our name for this week, County Tipperary, Ireland, Genealogy and Family History Notes. And that's the volume from the Irish Families Project that I put together that covers County Tipperary. And, of course, it's not just this volume, but also the master volume in the set has a lot of family histories in it on families from County Tipperary. So you put the two together and you got a nice little resource there. And you can read more about it on the webpage. I've got the link on the blog, or you can just go to the webpage and click in that left-hand column where it says Books We Publish. Number two, we pick another book here. I think we might do this each week, pick two. And this one is not one of mine. It's from, I saw it advertised here on globalgenealogy.com, and it's entitled Flight from Famine, The Coming of the Irish to Canada by Donald McKay. And it says that they tell us that it's a popular book that's now back in print, and they talk about the Irish arriving in the Newfoundland fishing stations in the 17th century and later. And it says they had established farms and settlements not too far after that, all the way from Nova Scotia to the Great Lakes. And then, of course, with the potato famine, we all know what happened then. So that might be an interesting book for a lot of people, especially if you got Canadian roots. And I tell you, there's people all over the states that hail from Canada, or their families might have stopped there for a generation, or they might have just stopped there for a night and come on down. But it's worth keeping an eye on that book. Hey, and that reminds me, coming up, we got the National Archives Genealogy Fair, and that's in more than one place, and a story about Bad Luck Gilpin. You know, right now it's time to raise our eyes skyward, give thanks, and ask for help. Here are today's Magnificent Seven. Well, number one, we have the St. Louis County Library, St. Louis, Missouri. Your Missouri Irish book shipped. Hey, that is a book that just matches up with you perfect, isn't it? And number two, John Madden of San Clemente, Your Tribes and Customs of High Minnie has shipped. And by the way, that's the last copy of that one. You got a good one there, hardbound and all. Number three, Aaron O'Hay or O'Hee of Centerport, New York. Welcome as a new member. And you're researching the O'Hay family or O'Hee family from Clonakilty, County Cork. Number four, Cora Lynn Karen of Clarkston, Washington. Your County Wexford genealogy book has shipped. Michael Stewart of Spring Valley, California. Your County Armagh genealogy book has shipped. And the Families of County Kerry book and the County Kerry genealogy and family history book has shipped. I think that sets the record for today. You're the customer of the day, the patron of the week, perhaps. 3 books all at once. That's an excellent way to go, and you know, that keeps us going around here because we need all the help we can get. Number 6, John M. Ryan of Woodbury, Minnesota. Welcome as a new member. And John's searching for Ryan, and he says a cousin has done a lot of search of the ancestry, but he's only been able to trace the ancestor back to their arrival in New York in the early 1800s. Well, luckily, they've done a lot of genealogical research back in New York, and there's even Irish research groups there, so you might not be in too bad a shape, even though you've got such a common name there. But we're going to talk about that name in a little bit. Number 7, Larry Mandel, or Mandel of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Your Annals of Ireland by the Four Masters has shipped. And you know, when you order it here, since I published it, I also put out another little piece that I don't ship anywhere else when I sell it. But when you order it here, there's a new added index where I went through the book and picked out a bunch of names that had been overlooked in the original index, and I printed it up on a green booklet, so to speak, and added that as a separate bonus piece. So you get both pieces, 2 for 1. And of course, you get the 4-color frontispiece and the new map index on the inside, plus the giant folding maps that's attached to the back cover, or it's put in a little pocket back there. So that's well worth getting. Hey, you know, and that reminds me to thank you, all of our members, one more time, because without you, I wouldn't be podcasting. I wouldn't have published all these books. I think I've published over 60 books now, and I've been able to write quite a few of those myself. So thank you very much. And I know I've published books by at least 10 other authors on Irish history and genealogy. So I sure do appreciate it, and I hope that you can benefit from 1 or 2 of those books. Well, now it's time to move on to the family name of the day. Today's family name is Ryan, and of course that's in honor of member John N. Ryan above and the other Ryans we have as members. And there's a lot of related spellings on the name I'll put on the blog, but it can have an O in front of it, so it can be O'Ryan. And the end of the name, you can add an E to the end of it after the N. You can also spell it as R-I-A-N, R-Y-A-N, and Mulryan, which may be closer to the original truth than most of you Ryans realize. And we find the name in variant spelling groups number 1825, 1831, 2998, and 2494. That's taken from the Master Guide to the Various Spellings of Irish Family Names. I put that together just a few years ago just to help everybody get an idea of how the other ways their names has been spelt in the records. Well, let's talk a little bit about the history here. We'll just take part of what we've got in the Book of Irish Families just to give you an idea. Ryan, as you know, is popular. Well, it's also one of the 10 most numerous names in all of Ireland. And the older spellings of O'Ryan and O'Mulryan and Mulryan, you don't find them quite as often. They're sort of all been dropped in favor of Ryan. That's at least for the most part. And it looks like most of the family descends from the O'Mulryan of County Tipperary. And they were centered in Oney in County Tipperary and in Oneyburg in County Limerick. And they're also found on the map of Ortelius in that area. And the lands were once known as Oney Mulryan. So if you go to Ireland and you're a Ryan, you want to stand on that soil and pick it up and let it fall beneath you, and just know that you've come back to claim your land. And you know, Keating's history, so many books talk about Ryan, but you take a look at Keating's history, that gives the O'Ryans as an ancient family of note in Carlow, Tipperary, and Waterford. And they were also noted as quite numerous and respectable in Kilkenny. So there'll be no looking down upon the Kilkenny Ryans, I'll have you know. Now, another family of Ryans that were unrelated to this first family of the name, and they descended from the O'Ryans, who were the lords of Udrona of County Carlow, and that's the barony of Idrone in County Carlow. And, you know, there's more about it, but that gives you a good start on the name if you didn't know anything about it in Ireland, and that's taken from the Book of Irish Families, Great and Small. Well, now we have to take a look at the Irish Book of Arms. And is it found in it? Yes, it is found in the Irish Book of Arms. So Ryan's given there with illustrated arms in the Irish Book of Arms. And if you're looking at the enhanced podcast with photos in it, I put a copy of those Ryan arms up on that podcast. You'll be able to see them. And that reminds me, coming up later, we got all kinds of other things. We've got curious news and notes from just about everywhere. And you know what? What are the famous favorite spots for the Irish in Ireland, the U.S., and Europe? But now let's finish this up with just one last note on the Ryan family. If you go to the Freemaster Index search of Irish names on the webpage, we find the family name at least 36 times. I think it's quite a bit more than that, actually. That 36 might have been left over from last week's tally. But what do we got there? We're just going to give you a few examples. Ryan births, given in the index to the families of County Clare, Ireland, and Dan Ryan in County Tipperary genealogy and family history notes. Ryan and Mull Ryan in County Waterford genealogy and family history notes. Ryan of Clownbrick is found in the families of County Limerick, and O'Ryan in the 1659 census, and O'Ryans of Tipperary in the Annals of Ireland by the Four Masters, which should take them back quite a ways, and Ryan and Ryan's Kerry Patch are found in the book entitled Missouri Irish. Well, now it's time to move on to the websites of the week. Well, the number one website choice this week is the U.S. National Archives at Kansas City. Dedication and the Genealogy Fair to be held there Saturday, May 23rd, 10 to 5. Of course, it's also on Friday, too. They've got a speaker then, but the Genealogy Fair is on Saturday, and we'll be there. We're going to be talking to people there. We're going to be interviewing, so don't be afraid to step right up and say hello. We'll put you on the air, maybe. Or if you're a shy person, we wouldn't. We wouldn't scare you now. We've got the link to that webpage on the blog. And we've also got the link to the U.S. National Archives page for genealogists and family historians. That's always a good place to start. You never know what you're going to end up with there yet. Good place for the census, too. Hey, number 3. It's our number 3 choice for the day is the Irish Roots fan page on Facebook. And feel free to list your search or ask questions and post photos. Go right ahead and do it. Don't wait for me to jump in there, although I'd get around to it eventually, but you know how that goes. So go right in and make yourself at home and start listing your searches and talking about what you want. We'll keep it going. Well, that does it for the websites for the week. Now we're going to turn to Curious News and Notes. Well, what have we got today? Well, our first item is that Ireland ranks ninth in child happiness, in just behind Netherlands, Sweden, and Norway, who come in 1, 2, and 3. Then Ireland's just a few there. It comes down to 9. But you know what? The UK ranks 24th. And who would have thought there'd been that a big difference between the two little islands there? I don't know. Who else is in there? Now, Germany was 8. A lot of us have German ancestors. Might wonder how the kids are doing there. Number 10 was Luxembourg. Isn't that something? And what else we got here? Spain was 13. Poland was 20. And Malta was at the bottom of the list at 29. But you can see that list. We got a link on it. It's rte.ie. It's on one of their pages. And we've got a link on the blog. You can see the whole list and hear the story about what the deal was. Now let's move on to number 2 for the day. Hey, there's a nostalgic TV series that's taken the Irish up there in the north back to the golden era of Ulster dance halls. And of course, those dance halls were a big thing, and it was more than just dancing, that's for sure. It was a cultural phenomenon, and they're bringing it back. I wonder if the fear of hard times is bringing back those formal dancing days. And it's presented by Strictly Come Dancing star Christine Bleakley, and Dance Hall Sweethearts will explore the phenomenon dancing had on the province of Ulster. And of course, that's the northern province of Ireland. And we've got a link on there. That's from BBC UK. And we've got a link on the blog. Take you right there. Number 3, Celtic events and groups from Celtic, Pennsylvania. Hey, they list on their page events and pubs and bands and dance schools and festivals and organizations and shops, or at least that's what they propose to do. It looks like they got a good start on it. And, for us family researchers, it pays to hang around with people that have a little interest in history or things Celtic or Irish or Scottish if you're looking for Scottish roots. So I'd think, you ought to think about that if you're a serious researcher. You can have some fun, go to a festival. Now, 99 out of 100 people may just go there to have a good time, but you just ask to be pointed towards somebody who knows something about genealogy and traced in their family, and you might find a kindred spirit that can point you in the right direction. That's just a secret tip. Number 4, I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not, but I'm going to mention it again. Maria McQuillan, who's one of Belfast's oldest citizens, says that there's no secret at all to her long life. Although I think she said she didn't smoke, and I'm not sure she even drank either, so although that wasn't one of her secrets, maybe it was. But that's on the BBC too, on the internet. We've got a link to it. You can read her story. And number 5, he throws a cursed piece of the Titanic back into Cork Harbor. And that was an Irish-American by the name of Mike Gilpin of Boston. And he threw what was recorded to be a baseball-sized piece of the hull of the Titanic into Cork Harbor. Now, you might ask yourself, why would a person do that? That's a pretty valuable artifact, at least historically speaking, and he had picked it up on the docks when the ships came in. Some of the salvage ships came in, and, it's the 97th anniversary of the Titanic sinking right this year. But you know what happened after he picked that piece up? He picked it up, even put it in a glass and sealed it up at one point. But he's been divorced, his house burnt down, he wrecked his car, he wrecked his motorcycle, and that piece just still survives. So he thought it was time to give it a proper resting place. So he went back to Ireland there into Cork Harbor and just threw it out there as far and as hard as he could. So it's now resting at the deep end of the ocean there. So he thinks it's back where it belongs, and his luck should sure pick up. And that little article talked about him going out and maybe getting some lottery tickets right away after he threw it back, thinking he might have a reversal of fortunes. Well, now that'd be a nice little Twilight Zone episode, wouldn't it? And lastly for today, where do you think the favorite places are for the Irish to go? Well, the irishtimes.com has a survey. We've got a link on the blog. And they say, well, if they're going to go on a longer holiday, they pick New York. And if they're going to go for a short trip at home, they pick Galway. And if they're going to go to Europe for a weekend, what do they pick? They pick Paris. So, New York, Paris, and Galway, that's not a bad trio, is it? There's more details on the blog. But you know what? That does it for the day. For today. Remember to send your comments by clicking the contact link on our webpage at irishroots.com or send by mail to our American address. And hey, remember, you can also call in your family search. Just make it short and quick. A little paragraph maybe, read it off or say it from memory, and I'll put it on the podcast. And remember, our American address is the Irish Roots Cafe, Box 7575, Kansas City, Missouri 64116. And leave your message or report on things in your part of the world when you call my phone recorder at 816-256-3360. And remember, you can Skype me at Irish Roots Cafe if you've got Skype. And you can find me on MySpace at Irish Roots Cafe, on Facebook at Mike OLaughlin, on Twitter as Irish Roots Cafe. And remember, members foot the bill, so they get first priority, but we're open to all. And by the way, a big thank you to all of our members. And away.